Hello, my name is Sebastian Popovic. I'm a holistic health coach and a teacher, and I specialize in helping people who suffer from various forms of mental health ailments and who are willing to work on themselves daily for the purpose of healing themselves perfectly naturally and without use of any chemicals or pharmaceutical products. I'm also helping a lot of people who are already heavily on the medications to, over time, basically minimize their dependence on these medications and with a view to sort of completely leave them behind so they can then start working on themselves to heal themselves how the mother nature actually uh, wants them to do, because we all have this inherent ability to heal ourselves in the same way that we have actually allowed ourselves to fall ill. So there's no difference. So, whichever way you have actually started to go down in non wanted direction, which is the so called illness, you will have to walk exactly the same way back that you have walked towards that destination that led you towards illness. Now, this time, you need to turn around and literally walk back along the same path back to your perfect health self. So, this is the way how it is done. There are no shortcuts and there are no other ways, which, of course, that we're accustomed to by being told that by using various aids, external chemicals, medications, and whatever that we are being offered and bombarded with on a daily basis is going to actually help us not to do what the Mother Nature has actually prepared us to do, because why we're doing that and why has been that program installed into us is to observe and to learn. Because if we not if when we take those unwanted roads and paths that lead us into the states which we find extremely uncomfortable and which we identify with illness, in order not to repeat the same mistake again, we need to learn and understand where we actually have made the mistakes initially and then have continued to make those same mistakes along that path that has led to dysfunction that we actually identify with a state of illness. Every time you go and you seek help from medical personnel, stuff like that, for the things that you can deal yourself and you can heal yourself, you actually take in the so called shortcut. You're blindly giving your power away to somebody else who then uses you and your trust in them to initiate the process of healing, because the healing comes from you knowing and believing deep down from within yourself that you are healing. And that is the actual signal that your subconscious mind accepts and then adheres to and then initiates the particular healing or the number of chemicals and the biological operations at a subcellular level that are then leading to homeostasis or going back to your proper healthy self. Nobody's healing you and nobody can heal you. You get yourself to the situation or the condition that you identify with the illness, and you are the only one that can actually get you back from the particular condition that we identify with illness back to become healthy again. So, what we're talking about here is basically raising your level of personal awareness in where you will then become observant of what is going on from within yourself. What it means is, how do you interact emotionally with your immediate environment? Very important, because your emotions are the ones that are actually directly influencing your endocrine system, which is your hormonal system, which then, depending on the types of emotions that you're experiencing at any moment in time, those emotions are then translated chemically into your body. So if you constantly feel fearful, if you constantly feel inadequate, unloved, or whatever emotions of not appropriate nature that you're experiencing and that you are feeling at any moment in time, those exact chemicals are being reproduced hormonally and released into your bloodstream. And in so doing, through the continuous feeling those particular emotions and the continuous production of those same chemicals, your cells are now accepting that as your own truth. That is something that you need to become aware of. The problem with that one is the prolonged dwelling in a certain emotional states actually makes you think that is your natural state of being. So you will not be able to differentiate feeling not good and feeling sad and feeling disappointed or feeling whatever that you feel in not positive way or not self-enhancing way, because that is your predominant state in which you dwell at all times. So you have no reference point. And the reference point is when you're feeling 100% relaxed, good, and confident in yourself. That is the reference point. And if you do not practice that and you do not experience that particular feeling of sensation of feeling good, and even for a fraction of the moment, that is enough at the time to bring you back, and for you and for your subconscious mind to be actually shaken and basically directed towards that particular state, which is 100% natural. It is 100% default or set in stone. But if through your workings, as I said at the beginning of this video, you condition yourself and you by choosing yourself to go in a certain path, which leads you to feel in a totally different way to how you should be feeling, which is feeling tranquil, calm, composed, self-assured, and confident about yourself. Anything else that does not really fall in line with these particular states is something that is there to tell you that you're not on the right path and that you're not doing something right because you're not feeling confident and you're not feeling good. So you really have to aim at all times to feel good. Now, I know that in today's world that is not easy because we live very externalized lives, or our cognitive attention is totally projected outside of our own selves. We observe the external world as the beat of it all. When I say we, I'm talking about the great majority of people. I'm not talking about every single person. There are, of course, those people that are mindful, that are achieved certain levels of self-awareness, that are actually, they know how to go in, and this is what I would like to teach you how to do that. But I'm talking about the people that really are totally living outside of themselves and perceive the whole reality as it is only as being their environment, the material world. And there's nothing else apart from that, which actually eliminates the key link to who they are, and that is understanding themselves. But the first point of understanding is to come into yourself, to link with yourself, with your body, and to become and to try to understand your connection with the body, because you are not the body. You're not who you think you are. You're the spirit, or the energy, or the electrical discharge, or more precisely, you're a glowing consciousness, part of the great divine, who actually inhibits the material body to experience this highly dense reality. That's who you are. So if you really only program yourself to experience the lowest of the lowest levels of yourself, which is interaction of other energetic beings like you, who are actually who are inhibiting their own bodies, and real interaction and whatever it is that you do between yourselves, and you actually think that is the beat of it all, well, it is not. This is literally almost nothing. In the great scheme of things that's called the creation, of which we are totally unaware of. And the only way to start getting that understanding of who you are is to, first of all, understand to control your brain wave activity. So why is that important? Everything is measured by the so-called brain wave activity. The higher the sort of the brain activity, the more out of control you are, or the less ability you have to control your own thoughts and the emotions. The purpose of what we're talking here is for you to reverse from what you're experiencing on a daily basis, and that is uncontrolled states of mental and even physical experiencing of the world through your high brain activity. And simply discipline yourself that in a certain times of the day you will perform a very short but very powerful mind and body exercises that will actually over time help you to start reducing your brain wave activity. Very, very important. Why is it important? Because when you start doing that, you're starting to create the reference point that I said to you before at the beginning or earlier in this video, and that is to start to feel calm, to start to feel good, to start to feel confident and self-assured that you are enough as you are here and now. And whatever you are here and now, whatever you're doing, and whoever you are as you are, is exactly how you should be. That doesn't mean that you have no, or you should have no reason to improve yourself in whichever way you want to do that. No, it doesn't mean that. But what it means is that you should not really bang yourself on the head, put yourself down, or think of yourself less than you are, just because you're not who you actually projected yourself to be in this particular moment, or where you want it to be, or no matter what. The most important thing in all that is to know that accept what it is at the moment. This is more advanced, but nevertheless, it is a good practice to start working on it, acknowledge the fact that whatever you are here and now is really how it should be. And the second thing is work on yourself to literally control and calm your brain activity whenever you can. And the benefits are immense, because every time you do that, you then start to not only get in control of what you think and what you feel, but you also start to control your physiology. Your whole body then starts to align. You become more calmer. As you become more calmer, that has an effect on your endocrine system, as I said before, because it listens 100% to your emotions. That will start to produce the feel-good chemicals that will then start to create the physical response to your controlled mental activity. So you're no longer always aiming to control whatever it is that you are feeling or what you're thinking. In this case, through starting and initiating this process of mental control will equally instruct your endocrine system, who will produce likewise chemicals, and that will then work on your body. And the more you do that, the more your body is going to be relaxed on its own. The more your body is relaxed on its own, the less negative thoughts and emotions are going to come to the front of your conscious awareness. This, of course, is not an easy process. This is the idea. This is the objective to which we should be aiming to achieve. But nevertheless, it is a very, very plausible idea, and it can be achieved with a good discipline and with some will to work on yourself on a daily basis. And the more you do that, the more you will start to see the benefits of your hard work. Now, in the beginning, depending on how far down the line you have transgressed in terms of letting yourself go off the lead, meaning how easily you can get aggravated, how easily you lose control over your thoughts and your emotions, how easily you can lose basically your ability to reason calmly and make decisions not based on how you feel on the spur of the moment, but through listening to your gut feeling and how everything resonates with you depending on how you perceive the whole situation, through the observing calmly, neutrally, which means you're not observing from neither point of fear or any negative feelings or anything like that. You're simply observing it with no emotions whatsoever. This is the key point that we are aiming to do, because emotions are very good, because they are actually giving you a lot of knowledge, teaching you about what is ahead of you. But that only comes when you can actually calm down your brain wave activity, and then through that eliminate possible negative emotions that come from similar events that you experienced in the past, and then allow the proper information in terms of the feelings and emotions that are linked with this particular event that you're experiencing now, that you're actually getting the correct feedback through your calm and controlled observation. You can then make the correct decision. Now, this is not easy to achieve. Again, I said that before, because this is something that comes through training. But nevertheless, you can do that. If you feel erratic, if you feel fearful, if you feel like you cannot trust yourself at any given moment in time. That's not the problem. You will just have to live with that. Even when you start doing my course and you start working with me, you will just have to live with whatever you have got at this moment and trust that whatever that you have and whatever that you're doing, whatever that you're experiencing is exactly what you should be doing here and now. But nevertheless, it doesn't mean you should not work on yourself to get yourself better and to get yourself to be and experience what you should have experienced before, because that is your right. That's inside you, but that has been well covered and by a number of different new programs that you've created through your fearful responses. So all you need to do is, this is what I'm teaching, particularly in the initial stages, is about how to reduce and how to reduce the brainwave activity, and then how to translate that into calming your body and then creating that inner synergy that will allow you to then completely sink down and then release the burdens of the external world, embrace the beauty of your inner world, which is way more important than anything that you receive externally. The beauty you have from within is so much more empowering and motivating and loving that it cannot in any form or shape be replaced or even compared to anything that you are seeking outside of yourself. Particularly, what I'm here referring to is when people are saying that they are looking for love. The love and the true love comes from within your own self, nowhere else. You need to learn to, first of all, accept yourself. Second, start to embrace yourself for who you are. And third, as you continue to accept and embrace yourself, you will then start to love yourself for who and what you are. And that love has to be unconditional towards yourself. This is not that you are being selfish. No, this is that you are being reasonable. Why that? Because if you do not love yourself, who will? How can you love somebody who doesn't love him or herself? Because that person will not know how to love you. Definition of selfishness doesn't cover that. Selfishness means me ahead of you, taking whatever it is you need, even though I don't need it, but I'm taking it away from you because I actually give myself the right to do that, even though I know it's not right, even though I know it's wrong. I'm doing that. That is selfishness. But focusing yourself, loving yourself, looking for your own health and well-being, that's your primary responsibility. Because if you don't love yourself, like I said before, who will? Who is going to be there for you? You have to always look after yourself. That's why when you fly on the airplanes, so what they say when it comes to the drop pressure, what have you, in a cabin and things like that, the first thing you must do is put the mask on your own face. First thing you need to do that. Not because you're being selfish, it's being reasonable. Because when you put the mask on your own face, then you can deal with your children or other people who are actually at that particular moment unable to do anything about it. And why? Because even if they are even if at the moment have lost the consciousness, whatever, you will then be able to resuscitate them and bring them back to full consciousness, because you are fully conscious. You know what you're doing, but you cannot do that if you have no actual ability to do that. And this is what the actual face mask with this particular oxygen is doing for you. So the same thing comes through loving yourself. That self-love will actually create this bright aura about yourself, that magnetic type persona that will attract not every single person. No, it's a myth, but will attract somebody who is actually reading that and who finds your own light and your own love attractive, because that person has the same feeling for him or herself, and all that he or she was looking for is to find the person who actually resonates at the same level. So love is about, first of all, loving yourself, is giving to yourself, and then you can then enhance that love to another person who can actually give the love, and you will then receive that love back. This is what this is all about. It's all about give and take. But in a situation with yourself, you always have to give yourself in order to be able to give. And what you're giving is you're giving your energy to the external world at all times. And when you have no literal source of renewed energy, you are then starting to feel fearful. And that is the point. It's basically lack of energy. So the most important thing is in everything is to summarize this video and whole presentation, is to start the process of self-healing, particularly from various forms of mental health ailments, is to recognize the fact that you are responsible for driving yourself to where you are now and to becoming who you are. You're responsible for all that. It is your responsibility at the same time to do something about it, but not taking the shortcuts. If you have self-respect, if you love yourself, you will take the full responsibility and you will start learning how to turn around from wherever you are here and now and start walking back the same path back to your full health. This is what I can help you with. Why is it important? Because through you walking back, you will learn where you have made the mistakes that have led you to your current condition. And as you learn all that, you will well make sure that those mistakes are not repeated again. And if you repeat them again for whatever reason, you might do that, because you always have some reasons to do that, you will feel a slap, a so-called energetic slap in your face, which will remind you of the consequences, and you will do it less and less and less until you stop doing them. That's the reason why it is important to learn those techniques. And as I said at the beginning, the most important thing is to start to become aware of your brainwave activity. Learn how to control your brainwave activity. That will then have a positive impact on your body. And with that, you would then start to create the homeostasis. And then the second part of that is about learning how to regenerate yourself electrically. Majority of the issues that I'll be experiencing with people who have mental health illnesses is low electrical conductivity in the body. That means that information in the body is simply not flowing. And that means that the cells are now left neurologically in a bit of a limbo. And for that reason, that creates the so-called SOS, or emergency, we're sinking because we don't know what we're doing. This is what actually is happening from within your own being. This is the shape of disconnectedness. So mental health is basically nothing else but the organizational disconnectedness at the subcellular level in your body, which then translates into your mental activity. So you really have to take the full responsibility, and instead of taking the shortcuts, take a longer path back and take the responsibility and keep learning and working on yourself until you start to see the difference that will make for you. And the difference is going to come. Not immediately, definitely not immediately. I mean, if I tell you 15 years ago, I was very, very bad in every way, mentally and physically. And it took me 6 years to heal myself. And I never accepted any other forms of pharmaceutical products or anything like that, or no, it was me. I'm not saying you shouldn't be doing that, but it was me. And I never looked back. And I will never go back to where I was before, because now I know what mistakes I made. And I'm very careful in every way not to make and repeat the same mistakes again. Very important. My next video I'm going to give you a bit much shorter, and I'll give you some tips on how to recognize the first shoots of fears, or particularly consistent fear that leads to anxiety. It is just some tips, but then again, like I said, you need to use the tools that I'm teaching, and that's why I'm strongly suggesting that you enroll in my course and my program, because that will then give you a step-by-step sort of path, what to do, how to do it. And because if you don't have the structure, you will not be able to do everything you need properly. And the structure is absolutely the key. If you need anything, or you'd like to discuss this with me personally, just drop me the line, drop me the message below this video, and I'll be very happy to provide you with any answer, or help you in any way I can. See you next video.